All right, I am here. We're going to talk about the Seven Mountain Mandate today, but it's going to be other things first. I need to apologize to some people, and then I need to throw out some cautions as well. Um, there's a lot going on. If you saw yesterday, I did a swine family dictionary where they had their words, and then I corrected them to what the correct words are. I'm going to keep doing those. There's nothing I find funnier than the swine family just screeching and hollering and using crazy words. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Gigi. That is really, to me, it's just hysterically funny. And every time he goes on a rant, all I can think of is Khrushchev. Was it the UN taking his shoe off and pounding on the table and demanding things? And like being a demander doesn't work out really well. Yeah, thank you, Small Town Jewel. I'm wearing one of my Holy Clothing shirts that I absolutely love. I'm going to put a link, I think, eventually in the description. Pull my hair outside. I'm getting really hot. So anyway, you all know me. I'm Suzanne Kamari. He's great for Pathos for almost 10 years, no longer quivering. So let's just jump right in. Hey, Jan. Hey, that Amber chick. Oh, back to work. Yeah, we're doing well. I just got to issue a few explanations and apologies this morning. Everybody's been wanting me to talk about Mandy, self-taught beauty. For the last year, I've been getting requests to do that, and I haven't. Recast Bobby has a really sad video up today. Apparently, she's in the hospital, and they've seized eight cats from her shed she lives in. You know, I am never going to cover and talk about people who are clearly mentally ill and are living in a shed that are homeless. I just can't do that. And I'm not a big fan of people who are sad fishing. Usually when someone starts sad fishing, I'm kind of like, nope, talk to the hand. I have enough stuff going on without having sad fishers in my streams. Thank you, Cheryl. They only caught 7. Ooh. I am all for rescuing animals. I really am. But at the same time, if you're going to rescue animals, you need to treat them responsibly. We have a animal. We're not quite an animal rescue, but we're damn close. We feed all the neighborhood ferals sometimes when they run the clinics for the ferals to get them spayed and neutered. We grab up as many as we can then. But here's the thing, you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to take care of the animals within your grasp, or you're not doing anybody any good. You're not doing the animals any good, most definitely. So self-taught beauty, Mandy, is just kind of sad and pathetic, and probably will never cover her here. None of them are going to survive. I talked to Crystal last night. She's the one that rescued. Oh, my God. Nancy, that is terrible. Terrible, terrible. And that Amber chick is terrible that she scammed you. I had no idea. Like I said, I looked at her a few times and people kept saying, you've got to cover. And I was like, this is just sad and pathetic. She's living in a shed. Not that you can't make a shed absolutely gorgeous. I have had friends in the tiny home movement that have moved into places about like that and completely transformed them into something worth living into. It's a sad situation. Okay, I also wanted to apologize to Redneck Barbie because I was kind of dismissive of her the other day when she came in, when she was talking about people making 6 figures on YouTube. And I started saying that wasn't much money. You know, I'm looking at this from where we used to live in Washington, D.C., where $100,000 would not get you much. You might be able to get an apartment. You might be able to find an apartment, but wages there are crazy and prices are crazy. So anytime, I forget that other parts of the country aren't like that. I mean, somebody was showing me photos and stuff of Mr. Swine's house. And I was like freaking out because I was like, oh my God, you can get a house there that cheap? I had no idea where we are. I mean, as we built our house in 1990, I think it was. It cost $90,000. And at the time we were freaking out about that. $90,000. We sold it for $400,000. That's how crazy things are. So I keep forgetting in other parts of the world, it's not at all like that. So Redneck Barbie, I'm sorry. I guess $100,000. I know it's adequate in some parts of the country. It's just not in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Virginia, Northern Virginia. You can't get anything for that. I understand where you're coming from on the six figures. Certain areas, it's truly not that much. Lexi, exactly where I'm from, it's not much. It used to be a lot here, but guess what? Since the pandemic, prices here have gone insane. But I will say this, there is a house that I have viewed. I've toured it. We toured it. We were looking for a house that's still on the market that I'm going to tell you, if you're wanting to move to Costa Rica, it is a bargain. It sits on several acres. It's a huge place. It's 4,000 square feet. 2,000 square feet of that is the master bedroom upstairs. It is now the bargain basement price of $140,000. When I viewed it, it was $300,000. It's a bargain. So if you're interested in coming to Costa Rica to live, hit me up and on Twitter, whatever. And I will link you up with that house because that house is fabulous and it should be selling for a lot more than that now. I'm in Las Vegas on the Strip. It's spendier now since the Big C. Wow, I'd love a master that big. Lexi, I really loved that place, but my husband didn't like it. Number one, it's down a dirt road. Number two, while you can see the Pacific from 3 rooms to the house. Oh, thank you, Jackie. Thank you so much. My yarn fun thanks you. You can see the Pacific from 3 rooms of 3 sides of the house. You're sitting up on a mountain looking down the Pacific. Fabulous place, but I couldn't get my husband interested at all. And I don't need a place that's 4,000 square feet. I just don't. As beautiful as it was. But most of the prices here have gone haywire. That's the only one I've seen going down. So I also want to issue a huge apology to Villanova Junction. I was supposed to be on her live stream, not this past, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before last. And I ended up in the hospital instead. Yeah, girl, I am so sorry. I'll make it up to you at some point. It's just craziness going on right now. Oh, Lexi, it is a beautiful place. It's built like an Italian villa. The only thing that I would change about it is I would put in a better kitchen. The kitchen really needed a complete remodel. It was just very bare bones. But the house itself is lovely. Okay. I also have to talk about Tyra Nicole, who I don't even really know. I don't follow her. I see everybody making videos about her and talking about her. She went after Claire Bear and Enough is Enough. And I just could not believe what I was seeing. She's not getting that enough is enough is enough is enough is enough. Our little thing is open to everybody. I mean, she could be part of it if she wants to be. It's not holding her back, but if she's going to start attacking Claire Bear for trying to help people out, I don't even know what to say to that. The town I live in is now 3,000 square feet bigger. Home that I need, and it is nice. I hate having to clean it. I'm the maid, cleaning lady, cook. Jackie, I hear you. I am here too. I think we're going to have to hire somebody to come in and start regularly because since my hospital adventures, I am not recovered. I am just exhausted all the time. She's mad because she wasn't invited. She couldn't add herself. She doesn't have to be invited to do it. That's what I think too. I think she's mad because she wasn't invited. But that's ridiculous. I also want to say I'm very concerned right now with Carolyn Harwell. I know that I quit following her and quit having anything to do with her recently because she started sad fishing and crazy. People are telling me that she's talking about moving to Virginia with a man. Virginia is an extremely expensive place, and I think that would be a disaster. So, Carolyn, don't do it. Think. That is a ton of space to clean. My flat is pretty tiny, under 900 square feet. I'm pretty sure very fast to clean. Lexi, that would be perfect for me. It would be so much more perfect in some ways if I could move into the guest house, which is about 900 square feet. I would have to clean very little, whereas this house is pretty good size. The bedroom alone is crazy big. Got a dressing room over there. There's a space. We have like a living room space, and it's just like, it's too much, too much. Ridiculous is Tyra. You're right. She is pretty ridiculous. Cheryl, I see. That's what I want to go down to too. I want to go down smaller because you're talking about a house about as big as I have here. Before I moved here, I actually told my husband, I said, we're going to build a tiny home. We're going to build a tiny home. And he was like, I don't want to do that. And we looked at all these different places. The one for me that besides this one, the number 2 would have been 1,600 square feet, which is what we went from in Northern Virginia to here. And I would have been happy with that. That was a duplex. It was a 2-story townhouse like duplex, a 2-minute walk from the beach. You could see the beach from the entire front of the house. But my husband didn't want it because A, it was a duplex. B, there wasn't a whole lot of room to put in a swimming pool, and we would have had to put in an expensive $60,000 concreto fence around the place. So none of that worked. So now I've talked about everybody I had every intention of talking about in our community. So, yeah. So Villanova, I'll make it up to you. Redneck Barbie, I'm sorry. I just had a brain fart that day and keep forgetting that the rest of the U.S. doesn't have crazy Northern Virginia prices. How come you're made? Nancy, I'd take you up on that if I can get my husband to agree. Cheryl, I hope she doesn't. I have no problem with her moving. I do have a problem with her moving the way she was talking about moving in her videos, what everybody was telling me. Lexi, that's my she shack out there. I actually decorated how I like. I painted the entire thing turquoise on the inside. It's pretty. It's a pretty little place. I'm planning on getting a tiny home. Traverse City, there are units for supervised living, a nursing home, and across the road is a cemetery. Kira, that sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan. I've certainly thought about it here. I mean, we have a big enough lot where we could certainly bring in containers and turn those into tiny homes. Somebody behind us did that. They brought in a pile of containers. They turned them all into apartments. It's tempting to buy the lot next to us and do that exactly. I live in Florida, a nice community for the moment, but I'd be okay with a tinier modular home. Lexi, good choice. That's my favorite color. Oh, Nancy, you should. You should. My art studio space room here. I've got everything in my tiny little studio. We stand with Ukraine. We also stand with the brave Russians protesting what their government is doing. Protesting over versus, yeah, exactly. I agree. So much is going on over there. There's so much going on all over the world. I think I will take a stream to talk about what's going on in Ukraine and how we can help people are signing up for Airbnbs just to be able to get money into the hands of the people in the Ukraine. And that may not be a bad way to go about it rather than going with the Red Cross or some of the other things. Okay. Why am I talking about the 7 Mountain Manifesto? I've heard it called the 7 Mountain Mandate. I've heard it called a pile of different things through the years. Without a Box of Kleenex is talking about these dancers that are somehow connected to 7M and the 7 Mountain Mandate, 7 Mountain Manifesto, the 7 Mountain thing. Kira, I don't know. Since I got back from the hospital, I'm just kind of like been inside the walls here. Yeah, so I've been within the walls. I haven't talked to anybody. I haven't talked to Ticos. I haven't talked to Americans. I haven't talked to anybody. It's just been like being in this weird limbo land of being too sick to do anything. And I could have talked to Dave. He was just here's a friend of ours, but we were talking about the fires because Dave lives in a subdivision called the Black Stallion that damn near burned to the ground. He had fire come as close as we had come just the other night. We had maybe about a half mile. You could see up the very top of the ridge of the mountains was on fire for a long way. And our little village, the next little village, a little village beyond that, they were all at risk, and the village on the other side of the mountain actually burned down. Porto Golpe, they burned to the ground. Kira, I know it's kind of scary what Putin is doing with everything. And I just have to say, Lindsey Graham called for the execution of Putin yesterday on Fox News, and that's wrong. We can't be doing that to world leaders, regardless of how bad we think they are. We cannot be calling for their deaths. I mean, that makes us no different than North Korea or some of the other totalitarian states. I'll give you a little food for thought before I go back to the Seven Mountain Mandate. Russia approached the U.S. back when Bill Clinton was president to join NATO, to be part of NATO. They wanted to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. They wanted to be part of it. After the wall came down and Glasnost hit, and Bill Clinton blew them off. I think that if we had allowed Russia to join NATO, then we would not be where we are now. I think we have to be very careful how we talk to what I'm going to call emerging democracies. Russia was on the brink of being a democracy, and then they went right back to the whole strongman thing that they're used to with Putin. My husband thinks we should just talk to Putin. I think that that's not a bad place to start. But at the same time, NATO's peacekeeping force should be there right now. They should be there taking on this whole thing. This doesn't need to be another America gets called in to do something because nobody else will. This needs to be a joint thing. Yes, it would be an act of war, Java Man. It would be an act of terrorism, no doubt. One thing about NATO is that everything has to be unanimous. I know that. And that alone makes it kind of hard for Russia to join. But Bill Clinton wouldn't even bring it up. He wouldn't even sponsor them at all. Like I said, I think that any emerging nation that wants to join, we should sponsor them. It's a good way to cut down on this kind of terrorism where they're going into Ukraine and they're doing all this. He's acting like a scorned ex. Exactly. That's exactly what he's acting like. And I would like to see that crap stop. It's just not good for anybody. We need to sit down with him, or at least the UN. Somebody needs to sit down with him, leaders face to face, and talk this out, because that is not a good look for anybody taking over somebody else's lands. And he's been warning us for a long time that he was going to do this. This is not out of the blue. But seizing the oligarchs in the U.S., seizing their assets is a start, as far as I'm concerned, to ending the swift wire transfers, just ended it. So that's my thoughts on Russia. Michelle, I did hear that he's possibly doing that because of that, and he doesn't think that Biden will do anything. I think that's a pretty terrible way to run things. The U.S. is for European integration because it significantly reduces another European war that would involve us after we've had two. That's exactly right. That's why I think that the push needs to be on for diplomatic solutions, because there doesn't need to be another world war. The first two were bad enough. The first two. So this whole Seven Mountain Mandate thing and the modern apostles, this has been going on for a long, long time. You know, this prophecy started back in like the 1975. There were several different guys. Missionary movement leader Lauren Cunningham, Campus Crusade for Christ founder Bill Bright, and televangelist Francis Schaeffer. They all seized upon this message in 1975. They all swore up and down that they were being told by God to climb the seven mountains. It's a way to let me turn this off. That's what I get